In the scripture readings for the liturgy for the past 2 weeks, the Blessed Virgin Mary has been honored 3 times. On December 8th, the Feast of the Immaculate Conception of Mary. Then on December 12th, with the Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe, and today in the readings. In the first reading today from the book of Isaiah, we have the story of Ahaz, the king there of Jerusalem. And he is placing his allegiance or his trust in a foreign alliance rather than in the Lord. And the prophet tells him not to do that. And the prophet gives a sign. And the sign is that a virgin will give birth to a son called Emmanuel. And of course, that virgin giving birth to a son prefigures Mary, who gives birth to a son, Emmanuel. God is with us. And we have the story or the message of trusting in Jesus, trusting in God is more important than trusting in anyone else. And we are called to say, in a way, "Oh Jesus, in you I trust." We should say that often during this season of Advent. "Oh Jesus, in you I trust." Now, the Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe, of course, goes back to 1531, when Juan Diego was going to Mass. And on his way to Mass, and he came to the top of a hill. And there he saw a vision. It was the Blessed Virgin Mary. And she told him to go to the bishop and tell the bishop to build a temple there on the hill in honor of her. And the bishop, of course, did not believe really in Juan Diego. And Juan Diego went back and he told the Blessed Virgin Mary, as he saw her again, to find someone else to go to the bishop, perhaps a Spaniard, rather than someone like himself who was an Aztec. And the Blessed Virgin Mary said, "No, go back again." And the bishop wanted to have a sign. And he told the Blessed Virgin Mary when he went back, and she said to go to the top of the hill. And there, in the winter time, when roses do not bloom, you'll find roses there. Pick them and bring them to the bishop. And he put the roses in his cloak or his tilma. He went back to the bishop, and when he opened the cloak and the roses cascaded down to the ground, the bishop and those with him fell down on their knees in astonishment, not because of the roses, but because of his cloak. And on the cloak was the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe. And the amazing thing about the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe was that at first it looked like a biracial image of Our Lady. And then you looked at another angle, and it looked like a Spanish Madonna. And you looked at it from a third angle, it looked like an Aztec Madonna. He was a sign of bringing those from Europe and those from the Americas together, that Our Lady is the mother of all humankind. The amazing story of the harmony of the world, that in the 15th century, the Aztecs controlled Central America, and they offered human sacrifices. Tens of thousands of innocent people were sacrificed. And then the Spaniards came there, and the soldiers also victimized the natives there. A clash between two cultures, the European culture and the Central Americans. Yet the Blessed Virgin Mary is the Queen of Peace. Our Lady of Guadalupe brought together both cultures. Not only both cultures, but she brought together all humankind in a way. The amazing thing about the Our Lady image of Guadalupe is that it was imprinted upon a rough fabric. And the rough fabric would only last perhaps 10 years, or 15 or 20 at the most. But the fabric now is almost 500 years old, and it's as if it were just imprinted upon this rough fabric. And also there's other distinguishing characteristics about Our Lady of Guadalupe, that it took place in 1531. In the previous 10 years, the Franciscan missionaries only converted a few people. But after the 1531, when people saw the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe, perhaps 8 million people converted to Catholicism, while in Europe there was the Protestant revolt, and perhaps half the number, 4 or 5 million, followed the Protestant religion and left Catholicism. Yet the new converts in Central America were twice the number at least, perhaps even more. Another amazing thing about Our Lady of Guadalupe's image is that the brilliance of the colors often fade. They fade because of the smoke from the incense and the candles. However, it's as bright as today as if it were imprinted in 1531. One of the things that have happened in the 20th century with the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe is that scientists, through the development of a process method, have magnified the eyes of the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe 200 times. And in the eyes they see of Juan Diego, a bishop, and 11 other people, a black woman, and also different people from Central America, that in the eyes of Our Lady of Guadalupe, all these people are brought together. And we also, in a way, are in the eyes of the Blessed Virgin Mary, imprinted there as her children, because indeed Our Lady of Guadalupe brings together the whole world in peace. and how desperately the world needs that today. So let us pray to Our Lady a Hail Mary, a deck of the Rosary, or the Rosary itself, especially during Advent, for world peace. It is also interesting to know that in 1570, a Muslim armada was sailing across the Mediterranean to invade southern Europe, and a Catholic coalition of ships were to defend Europe. The Muslim armada was twice the size of the Catholic coalition. The Pope had prayed for the Catholic coalition and asked Europe to pray. And in the cabin of the Catholic admiral was a copy of Our Lady of Guadalupe. And Lepanto, in 1570, the Catholic coalition defeated the Muslim armada, saving Europe for another 100 years from a Muslim invasion. Our Lady of Guadalupe plays a prominent role today as the patroness of the Americas and the patroness of the pro-life movement. So let us say some prayers to Our Lady for peace in the world and for a culture of life.